You probably feel incredibly rich for about 20 minutes on payday before that money seemingly vanishes into thin air. But then you blink, it is suddenly Tuesday morning and you are anxiously staring at your banking app, wondering where it went. You didn't buy anything crazy like a brand new car, yet somehow you seem to have absolutely nothing significant to show for it. That sinking feeling of financial confusion is way more common than you think, and it is exactly what we need to talk about. My name is Valentine, and I spend way too much time thinking about the psychology behind personal finance and daily budgeting. If you work incredibly hard but still feel broke every month, make sure to hit the subscribe button right now. Please go ahead and give this video a thumbs up if this content helps you finally figure out your money problems. Look, most generic financial advice tells you to create a strict budget immediately, but that is actually terrible advice for total beginners. You simply cannot build a realistic plan for your future when you have absolutely no idea about the reality of your current spending. So, I challenge you to track every single dollar that leaves your possession for the next 90 days without changing anything else. I am not asking you to cut back on anything yet, I'm just asking you to become aggressively aware of the data. You should use a simple notebook or a free app on your phone because the specific tool you use truly does not matter. The only thing that matters is that you record the exact dollar amount the very second that the transaction actually takes place. Here's the honest truth about the first 30 days. It is going to be incredibly annoying and you will probably want to quit. You will realize just how many mindless transactions you make every single day, from that morning coffee to the random online purchases. It feels tedious because you are forcing your brain to pay attention to things it desperately wants to ignore out of habit. There is a massive psychological reason we hate doing this, because tracking forces us to confront the uncomfortable reality of our actions. It is much easier to ignore the leaks in your bank account than it is to actually fix the plumbing causing the problem. Studies show that most people estimate they spend $80 on subscriptions, but they actually spend well over $200. That is a massive gap between perception and reality, and that gap is exactly where your financial future is currently dying. When you finally reach that 60-day mark, something really interesting begins to happen because you stop looking at individual isolated purchases. You stop seeing just one takeout meal and start seeing the macro pattern that you order food every time you have a stressful day. You begin to connect your emotional states directly to your spending habits, which is a connection most people never make in a lifetime. By day 90, the simple act of measuring your behavior begins to change the behavior itself, which scientists call the Hawthorne effect. You start to feel a split-second pause before tapping your card because you know you will have to painfully log that transaction later on. That tiny pause is the most valuable financial asset you own because it breaks the dopamine loop of impulsive, mindless spending. Suddenly, that random $50 purchase doesn't feel like a reward anymore. It just feels like $50 you won't have later. Here's what most people don't realize. Budgeting is not about restriction, it's about giving yourself permission to spend on what matters. But you cannot give yourself permission if you don't even know how much money you have available to spend in the first place. When you finish these 90 days, you won't just have a list of numbers, you will have an actual MRI of your financial life. You will finally have the clarity required to make actual decisions instead of just hoping you have enough money left at the end. Tracking isn't about restricting yourself from enjoying life, it is about shining a bright flashlight into the dark corners of your finances. You cannot manage what you do not measure, and 90 days of data gives you more clarity than a lifetime of blind guessing. We often tell ourselves that we are bad with money, but usually we are just blind to where the money is actually going. The moment you write down a purchase, you move it from your subconscious mind to your conscious mind, where logic can actually work. It forces you to take responsibility for every single cent, which is terrifying for some people, but incredibly liberating for everyone else. You might discover that you are spending $500 a month on dining out when you thought it was only $200. That realization hurts, but that pain is the only thing that will motivate you to actually change your habits for the long term. Once you have 90 days of data, you can finally build a budget that actually works because it is based on real life. You will no longer be guessing numbers or setting unrealistic goals that you are guaranteed to fail at within the first week. Instead, you will be building a financial plan that fits your actual life, your actual habits, and your actual goals for the future. This process transforms money from a source of constant anxiety into a simple tool that you control completely and with total confidence. If you are ready to take this challenge, comment 90 days down below so I know you are serious about changing your future.